Hi, I'm Bonnie Strickler with Puff Incorporated, and I'm the chairman of the QAP committee for the SPFA PCP certification program. Today we're having field exams here at Western Pacific Roofing, and I'd like to take you through each of the stations so you've got an idea of how we conduct those exams. So the first thing that happens when someone gets here is we have them come over to our registration desk and get signed in. So let's head that way. And as you can see, we've got some people signing in as we speak. While they're here, they're going to sign a release. They're also going to sign in and show their identification so we know that they have paid for and are the actual person taking the exam. And we're going to go ahead and give them a copy of their field exam form so they know what they're being examined on. And then we're going to assign a field examiner to them with a clipboard that has the same form. And then they're going to companion up and they're going to head to the next station. So let's go ahead and move on. We'll go to station number 1 first. So we're conducting exams here for insulation and for roofing. So when the candidate comes in, he might choose insulation or roofing. So we have two different paths. So the first installation path is yellow. So the first station is a yellow station and it's insulation. We're going to go down that path first. So we would come into this station and we would set together the field examiner with the person. And this station examines you on 2 items. One is documentation. Each of the candidates have been asked to bring with them on their field exam section 1, which is correlating with station 1, and the documentation that you must have when you go to any job site. For instance, MSDSs, which is your safety data sheets, technical data sheets, and all the appropriate paperwork that you would normally do a job with. And here's some examples of some of the items that they would be supporting us with. Our safety data sheets and technical data sheets. These are the items that they would have brought with them to actually show us what they're going to be, the documentation on the job. So once they've shown us all their documentation and the field examiner has said yes or no, he's met those criteria, then we move over to the PPE. We've demonstrated here several forms of PPE. He has to tell us which one is correct. So they would reach into each box and pull out the proper PPE and lay it out. And of course the examiner says yes or no whether they've completed or not. They would go through the different types of suits and pick out the one that is accurate. Obviously cotton is not and jeans are not. In this case, obviously a safety boot is the right answer, and a soft-soled boat shoe is not. So they would go through each of these totes and determine what the proper PPE is. These are obviously a glove, but not safety. These are nitrile gloves. So just examples of the proper ones. So they will demonstrate to us that they know the proper safety equipment and PPE. And so then if you're doing installation, we're going to move on to station 2. Actually, this is part of station 1. So I'll back up just a minute when we were talking about PPE. This is a fresh air system. All the pieces are here. They have to be able to demonstrate to us they know how to put it all together and hook it up and have it work properly. All the hoses and connections are in here. So they have to demonstrate actually hooking up a fresh air SAR system for the installation of insulation. In station number 2 for installation, this is our pre-application section. Again, it correlates with the exam for section number 2. They want to know everything to do with before the job actually starts. As you can see, there's one going on behind me in the background right now, so we won't interrupt them, but briefly, they have to demonstrate on the inside of here that they have cross ventilation. There's a blower here. They have to show us that they know where this is to be hooked up and how they're going to cross ventilate this room. If they just show us they're going to put it in one window and another window on the same wall, that's not cross ventilation, they would fail. They're also going to demonstrate to us that it's been properly prepared. We have a section, if you can see in the bottom right corner there, that's dirty and wet. So they have to show us that that is not an acceptable surface to spray to. Right in here we have fire extinguishers. They have to pick through the box and get the correct fire extinguisher. We have some with tags that are out of date. We have some that do not have a proper charge. So it's multiple different things, but there's only one that is an adequate fire extinguisher in there. We also have signs. We have a multitude of signs that are available. They have to demonstrate to us the proper sign. Warning, no smoking is not acceptable. Enter at your own risk, or do not enter is not acceptable. Warning, spray foam in progress, watch out, that's not acceptable. But for instance, this is our SPFA warning signs that are new now. Obviously, do not enter, a place that is PPE is required, the date for re-entry and time, and obviously no smoking and open flame. So these would be appropriate signs. They will also inside this room demonstrate checking for moisture with this meter. They will also demonstrate temperature so that they've shown us that they have adequate temperature and moisture levels in order to be able to do this job. Moving around back, we have multiple ladders setting here that they get to choose from. They have to demonstrate to us that they're going to set up the proper ladder for this application. So they choose a ladder from this area and they bring it over here and set it up against this building. They obviously have to have it at the correct angle, they have to have the correct ladder, and they also have to, up top, have tied it off. And they also have to have it at least 3 rungs above. So they have to demonstrate setting up an extension ladder. They then have to take a step ladder and properly set it up. And as you can see here, it's leaning up against the wall, which is not acceptable. So they would have to take that away and stand it out here to demonstrate they know a step ladder cannot be put against a wall. And that concludes number 2, so we're ready to move on to number 3. This is our station number 3. I apologize for the noise. As you can tell, we have equipment running in the background. They come over to station 3, they have to demonstrate to us that they can rebuild an SPF spray gun. The guns we have here are 3 different guns. They have the choice. If they do not like those guns, they can bring their own. But they disassemble the gun and reassemble it to show that they know what they're doing. They then have to go inside the trailer here and demonstrate how to properly mix the open cell foam on the resin side. That's one of the requirements. So they then demonstrate how to properly mix that. Then we move over to this rig, which is still following our station number 3. They have to demonstrate going through a pile of tools and supplies to safety. These items here have things wrong with them, and they have to identify that they're missing guards, missing some plugs, some wires exposed, items of that nature. They then demonstrate to us how they would prevent the material from running out. They show us what that is. They have to show us that there is a 15-minute eyewash station available for the job. Then we move on to station number 4. At station number 4, this is our actual spray booth. So what they have to do is come to this table right here and gather up their PPE. So we make sure they get properly suited up and have all the proper PPE on before they go to the area. So they'll suit up and get their gloves and head socks and coveralls on. Then they proceed over to the spray booth. As you can see, no one's spraying right now. So there's 2 guns laying here. We have an open cell gun and a closed cell gun. Most of our candidates today are actually taking the test for both. You can take it for one or the other or for both. They would come in here, and as you can see, we have a complete SLR fresh air system set up for both. So the field examiner and the candidate, they would suit up with this, make sure they have fresh air on, and then they would enter the no zone. At that point, the door closes so that we have no overspray or fumes going outside. Moving on to station 5. This is our station 5 rig, and obviously we're using this for startup and shutdown instead of the rigs that are over there, because they're obviously running and they're spraying foam with it. It'd be kind of hard to start them and stop them while they're spraying. The purpose of this station is to demonstrate starting up the equipment, properly operating the equipment, and then properly shutting it down. So they'll have to demonstrate knowing how to cut on both the air compressor and the generator, which would be the first step to power up this rig, and then we move inside to be able to hook up the machine. This is a machine that they're going to demonstrate to us on. Once we've cranked the generator and the air compressor, they're going to power up this machine. They're going to get it pressurized and show us the proper procedure. They're then going to make sure that they have pressures that are imbalanced. They're going to show us how to adjust our temperatures and our pressures up and down, that they know how to do that. Once they've demonstrated that, they're going to demonstrate that if they had an error code, they will then be able to tell us what the error code meant by looking at this nomenclature. Then once that's complete, then they're going to do the reverse. They're going to show us how to shut it all down, which is really a reverse process. How to put it in park, how to cut everything back off, and how to engage the power to the air compressor and the generator. So that's what they do inside. Then the last step to station 5, they have to demonstrate to us they know how to do a density test. They will cut out a section of foam out of our core board in the back. They will bring it over here and trim it, and they will actually do their procedure, which we have spelled out here on a form for them. They cut the sample, they weigh it, they do the water, they do the calculations with the calculator, and then they come up with another. It's to let us to demonstrate they know how to check density. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and the next thing we'll do is we'll go through the roofing process the same way.